Hmm. 11th shloka. What is the 11th verse? Haridashva sahasrarchihi sapta saptir marichiman timiron mathana shambhu tvashta martanda amshuman. So, Om Haridashvaya Namaha, Om Sahasrarchishe Namaha, Om Sapta Saptaye Namaha, Om Marichamataye Namaha, Namaha, Om Timirun Mathanaya Namaha. 48 varakyum we saw. Right? And furthermore, what it says is Shambhave Namaha. Shambhu Tvashta Martandaka Amshuman. So the Martanda Komshuman varum sila idathula. Martanda Amshuman varum. So there is a little bit of Pata Bheda in that, but both are okay. So Shambhu, Shambhave Namaha. Shambhu, the word is, so the meaning there is, he is the source of joy and happiness. Shambhu, the word comes from Sambhuhu. Sam means Samatvam, if you're wanting to represent Samatvam, equanimity, equanimous, non-dual, Advaitam. All of this can be represented by the word Sama. Samadhi also comes from the word Sam is also appearing there, right? Samatvam, Sama. So Sam, Bhuhu. Bhuhu means to be there, to be present, to be available as presence. So that which is available, in fact, Shiva is also known as Shambhu, Shambhave Namaha, Shambhu. And this is the most gentle form of divinity. Like Shiva is auspicious, Shambhu is experienced as compassion. Shambhu is experienced as compassion, Karuna. So that which is ever remaining in its own principle, Sam Bhuhu, always existing, Bhuhu Bhavati, in its own self, in the equanimous non-dual self. That is Shambhu. So the experience of Shambhu is that of compassion, that is of Karuna. In fact, the mantra Shambhave Namaha is also given as a Diksha mantra for by some gurus. Because it's that aspect which evokes like Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Shambhave Namaha is also a very powerful mantra which evokes the Karuna of that energy. So what you are invoking within you is that compassion of understanding. If Shiva is auspiciousness and Mangalam, Shambhu is compassion and understanding. So Shambhave Namaha. Tvashta, Tvashtre Namaha, Om Tvashtre Namaha. Tvashta means actually in the dictionary, Tvashta means a carpenter, somebody who is. So how does a carpenter work? Carpenter or a sculptor, how do they work? They get a block of stone or a block of wood and they chip off all the unnecessary things. So when you chip off unnecessary things, then what you want, the image or the structure that wants to emerge, it emerges out. So what is he actually doing? Is he creating the structure there? No, he is actually chipping off the unwanted things so that the structure, in fact, Michelangelo, when he was asked, how does he make such beautiful sculptures? He said, I don't make these sculptures. That figure is already present in that rock, in that piece of rock. So which is why he takes a lot of time. Artists like Michelangelo, medieval artists, they would take a lot of time to select the rock. They'll just spend a few months to even identify a rock. Like, for example, he built the David, right? He sculpted the David. The structure of David, he has to see, if he's visualizing that the structure has to be built, he has to visualize that structure in that stone. Only if that stone, he is able to perceive that structure in the stone, then he'll pick up that stone, and then what he says is, all I do is the structure is in the stone already, I sculpt off the unnecessary parts of the stone. And this is why all our shilpikars, the shilpis of in the temple, the main deity, the main deity in the Garbhagriha also, that's exactly the way they select the stone for the deity. Those are very particular, very they want to look for the right stone that emits the right kind of energy. They look for the right kind of stone and take a lot of time in doing that. Because according to the Shilpi, the stone already has the structure of the Devata. The Devi or the Ambal or the Muruga or Ganapati or whatever, they will look for the stone till the point they realize that this stone is emitting the energy of Ganesha or Muruga or Devi. Once they feel that, then the Sthapati or the Shilpi will chip off all the unnecessary and let the image appear, reveal itself. Right? Which is why if you go and talk to them, they will say it is a very meditative process for them. It's a very meditative process, because the whole process is for them, they are not creating Ganapati there. Ganapati is already existing in that stone. They're removing the unwanted pieces of that stone. Twashtra, twashta, twashtre namaha. That is what it means. It means that he is Surya Bhagavan, by means of chipping off or clearing off all the unwanted kleshas that we carry. He removes all that so that we emerge out as the shining form, that true form that we are, right? And how does this happen? By letting us clear our karma, the prarabdha, sanchita, agami, whatever karma that we are collecting, by means of giving us opportunities to clear our karma. Right? That is how we see any incident, situation, people coming into our lives. We see that as something that is helping us clear our clear the baggages that we carry. Once we cleared of it, such experiences will not occur. See, if you look at our lives, you will see every person, every individual, we are saying, is the same Atma, the same consciousness, correct? Yet we all undergo different experiences. We all undergo very different experiences. Our perception of the world is so very different. Why is that so? Because what we need in our lives, or the experiences that we require to chip off, and to chip off the unwanted, and for that individual self to glow, we need different kinds of experiences. Which is why you will notice some experiences will never come to us. You may read it in the newspaper, you will watch people go through suffering. That suffering will never come to us. We should think about why such suffering never comes to us, because we don't need that suffering. We may possibly have gone through that suffering in some lifetimes, and we have possibly overcome such situations, and we don't need that kind of suffering. And likewise, the sufferings that we get, you will notice some people don't get. Everything seems to be fine for them from our perspective. Things seem to be fine for them. They will have other kinds of sufferings, other kinds of difficulties, because they're also born into this bhuloka. Right? Not everybody is just pleasure and pleasure, right? So what they will receive will be different from what we receive. Why? It is tailor-made. Why is it tailor-made? Because we are tailor-made. My actions are different from your actions. My intentions are different from your intentions. My desires are different from your desires. Right? Hence, these things that occur to us will be very different. It can be even the mother and child. Even the child that has come out of the womb of the mother after 9 months, being a part of her body, the child comes out, it has got its own journey. It has its own karma that it needs to clear up, its own experiences that will draw upon. But as long as we are connected with the child, we will also get the impact of the experience. But once the child goes on its own, the experiences the child will receive is different from the experiences we will receive. Right? Because we need those experiences. Now, once we overcome those experiences, receive it properly, live through it and overcome it, then such experiences will not occur again, because we've done with it. We are done with it. You'll never, once your desire for a chocolate or an ice cream or a toy is done with, even if you walk past Toys R Us is the largest toy store, right? I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's closed now, whatever. But Toys R Us, I remember, used to be one of the largest toy stores in Urka. So when you walk past a Toys R Us, do you get drawn? Do you get drawn into it? You don't, because you're done with it. It doesn't engage you anymore. In the same way, remember, those experiences that come and hit you and you engage with them is because you are still associated with some kind of desire or some kind of longing that is there, which is why that experience is coming. So Tvashtre Namaha is to help us go through these experiences, clear them off, so that we get closer and closer to the truth and reality that which we are. Layers after layers, we keep cleaning. Om Tvashtre Namaha. Om Martandakaya Namaha. Martha Andakaya. Anda in the shape of an egg. The way the explanation here is, the universe is in the form of an egg, which is why we call it Pindanda, Brahmanda. Anda means, it's the, in Hindi it is, anda is called as egg, right? In Hindi, egg means, the word for egg is anda. It comes from the Sanskrit word, it is anda. Anda means it's the elliptical form. The shape of an egg is the shape of an ellipse. And ellipse, in terms of energy, an ellipse is the most stable form of energy, which is why linga is also represented as an ellipse. Although it's shown like it goes like that, but then actually it's an ellipse. Most lingas that you keep, the Atma linga or whatever linga that you keep for worshipping in the house, is always an ellipsoid. You see, it's an ellipsoid. It's never a circular stone, or it's not any other structure. It's an ellipsoid, because that is the most stable form. You look at our the solar system, the orbit of the solar system, the orbit of the sun around the Earth around the sun, the orbit of all planets around the sun, the orbit of the whole Milky Way galaxy around the rest of this thing, center of the universe. It's all ellipsoidal. Because ellipse.
Acharya Swami kuda Shankaracharya அவரோட இதுல பகவத்கீதைக்கு சொல்லுவார் இல்லையா, இந்த ஸ்லோகம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் உங்களுக்கு நாராயண பரவக்காது, அதுல அண்டமாக வைத்த சம்பவம்
சொல்லுவாரல்ல. ஓகே. இந்த சங்கர பாஷ்யம் you're saying?
சங்கர பாஷ்யத்துல.
ஆமா ஆமா, கரெக்ட். So அதுல வந்து actually அதுலயும் வரும். In fact, even in Vishnu Sahasranama, it is mentioned in several places. So wherever you see this term anda, when the universe is represented as the anda, it means this whole universe. Now இதுல வந்து ரெண்டு இருக்கு. anda, பிரம்மாண்டன்னு சொல்லுவா, பிண்டாண்டன்னு சொல்லுவா. So brahmanda is the cosmic energy. Pindanda is the individual energy. அதனால இது பிண்டம்னு சொல்லுவா. This is called as pinda. நம்ம தர்ப்பணம் போது பண்ணுவோமே, what we do is you actually create pindas and put it keep it for the ancestral for your ancestors. The idea is you are actually pinda, you're creating a pinda means you're giving them a certain form. You're giving them, for their form, you're offering them food for their pinda. You're offering food for their pinda, for their form, right? So this is the pinda anda. This is a microcosm, and the Brahmanda is the macrocosm. There's a lot of connections between the two. But the important thing here is Martandakaya means he is the energy or the source that gives life to this egg. It's cosmic egg, the Surya Bhagavan or Surya, or this cosmic consciousness which is represented by Surya, is the life force, is the consciousness, is the sentience that is existing in the insentience. It is the consciousness that is existing in this whole inert Jagat. Jagat is inert. This body Pinda is inert. This whole cosmos is inert. But the Purusha, is the consciousness, or consciousness is the sentience in all of this that is existing. Right? So that way, Anda is essentially in fact, he's also known as, in another Nama, he comes as Hiranyagarbha, which is, he is golden, he's of a golden color, and he is like a golden egg. So the way it's also represented is this whole cosmos is like a golden egg. And then he is the life force. So inside the egg, if you look at the egg itself, the egg has no egg. It's got a shell, it's got whatever the contents, but the life force, and it's inert. The egg itself is inert, but the life force in the egg is that consciousness. Martandakaya namaha. Amshumate namaha. So he is, so the reference here is to Narayana Suktam, Antar Bahishcha Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha, which means he's pervading inside and outside. Ishavasya Upanishad also has a similar shloka. Yastu Sarvani Bhutani. No, not that one. Sarvasyasya Bhahyatah. Antar Bahishcha, no. Sarvasyasya Bhahyatah or shloka. Taddure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bhahyatah. So that shloka goes, taddure tadvantike, it is far yet it is near. Taddure tadvantike tad antarasya sarvasya, it is the inside of everything. Tadu sarvasyasya bhahyatah, it is also outside of everything. So the term to represent that is Amshumate Namaha. So what it references here is that this consciousness is not inside something. It is not inside something, or it is not just inside something, nor it is just outside something. It is all pervading, and the objects exist in it, and it exists in the objects. Correct? Like, for example, you take a sponge and you dip it into water. So there is water outside the sponge, there is water inside the sponge. So what it means is, the more porous you are, you'll experience the light within you, consciousness within you. So we have to become as porous as the sponge. If you put a rock in water, there is only water outside the rock. There is no water inside the rock. And it's because the rock is rock solid. It doesn't allow any seepage of water inside it, right? A concrete block. But you take a concrete block, which is a sponge, material a sponge, and you put it into water, it fills itself with water inside, and yet there is water on the outside. So a nice analogy, I think, because it is so, for us to experience this light within, for us to experience the grace and the experience of the consciousness that is inside, we have to become porous like the sponge, which means you create holes in us. Right now, we are rock solid. Yeah? We are saying, this is me, this is my idea, my ideology, my principle, this is what I am, this is who I am. We are so rigid. So the more holes we create in us, the more porous we become. And the more we experience the consciousness that is inside. Right now, it's there, both inside and outside. It's just the experience of us ourselves is not so inclusive. It is not so um, um, it is not so seamless. In fact, most of the samadhi experiences you hear about, people talk about, they experience this external and the body and the external not as two different things. See, Vivekananda had this experience when Ramakrishna touched his forehead, right, or kicked him on his heart or whatever. There's an episode where Swami Vivekananda asks Sri Ramakrishna, do you see God? So then Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, I see him closer than I can see him much closer than I can see you. Right? And then Swami Vivekananda goes, can you show it to me? And then some places I've seen Ramakrishna kicks him on his chest, or in some places I've seen Sri Ramakrishna puts his thumb on his forehead or something, or keeps his hand on his crown. And then for 3 days he goes into samadhi. And when he comes back, there's complete works of Swami Vivekananda. So he says, when he comes back, he recalls that experience where he experiences everything as part of himself. There is one other Swamiji has written about a samadhi experience, and I remember reading this, and what he says is, for several days he had difficulty eating food, because the hand and the food, it just seemed like all part of him. And when he's eating the food, he felt like he's eating himself. So the whole perception was so uncanny. But because you're not used to it. You're used to seeing objects different from you. This hand is me, but the food that I'm eating is not me. The food can go inside and become me. That process happens anyways. That intelligence is there in the body. But until the food is outside of me, you don't have the experience that this food is part of me. So you're able to comfortably consume it. But assuming you're feeling as though you're eating your hand, it's a very uncanny feeling, right? So his samadhi experience, when he was in this samadhi experience, it felt as though everything was part of him and he was not able to distinguish so vividly. And so he had difficulty in engaging for a period of time till it stabilizes. See, the important thing is this experience slowly with time has to stabilize, and then you are not an individual being, but you're still operating as an individual being. The truth of it is there. It's like saying, Swami Anubhavananda made a beautiful statement. He said, what is the difference between a person who's realized and who's not realized is the difference between, like, when I look at the sky, I know the sky is blue. When the child looks at the sky, the child knows the sky is blue. But I know that the sky is actually not blue. The water of the oceans is reflecting up there onto the clouds or onto that open expanse, and it's appearing as blue. It's appearing as blue. For the child, it is blue. That's the difference. So for me, do I see anything different? Do I suddenly see it not as blue? No, I see it as blue because the eyes are of this world. The sky is of this world. The pramanas, the indriyas that I carry is of this world. And that sky is also of this world. If I say that sky is Maya, this eye is also Maya, the ears is also Maya, everything is Maya that way. So from Maya, I am observing Maya. I know the sky is still appearing blue, but the understanding in my head is there that sky is actually not blue. So in the same way, the experience that they have is that this consciousness is existing within and outside, but they still know that this body is still prarabdha, it still needs to operate in this world, and hence you can't இந்த படத்துல ஒரு பாட்டு இருக்கு, எம் பணம் பணம் ஓம் பணம் ஓம் பணம் பணம் எம் பணம்னு. So you can't go into that kind of an exchange in the world, saying that what is there, everything is mine, everything is this thing, I'm part of everything. You can't go and start putting your hands into somebody else's pocket and saying there's no distinction, this your money, my money, this is my money, just as a joke that is usually said in Vedanta. But the idea is this, that this distinction is still there because you're still operating in this world. Correct. So Amshumate Namaha, Om Amshumate Namaha is where the experience is that he is Antarasya Sarvasya Tattu Sarvasyasya Bahyatah. This consciousness is in everything, Tattu, yet it is outside of everything also. Okay, this is actually a beautiful way, also the way our tradition teaches the whole understanding of God or cosmic consciousness or Brahman or whatever. Because if you look at certain other traditions, for example, you look at the Christian theology. Christian theology says God and the world. So God created the world and the world is independent of this God. And that is their theology. He's transcendent. God is transcendent and the world is here. But the way Vedanta perceives this is God, and God is in the world. So God is transcendent, yet he is immanent, which means he is also in the world. Whatever this God as principle we speak about is essentially both, like Purusha Suktam says, Tripadasya padosya sarva bhutani tripadasya amritam divi. The quarter of him is in the world, 3/4 is amritam divi. It's the transcendent. Padosya vishwa bhutani. He is in the Vishwa as Bhuta. In all the Bhutas, he is the Vishwa. He is the Vishwanu, Vishnu. Padosya Vishwa Bhutani. Pada is quarter. Tripadasya Amritam Divi. Tripada is the 3/4 of him, is the transcendent. So what we experience is the Supreme Being here is only a quarter of what he really is in terms of his expanse and his scale. And this Vishwa is not just earth. According to the Vedas, it is not just earth, it is the material universe, the created material universe. So Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Amritam Divi. He is shining, Divi, he is shining as this Amritam, the infinite. So Amshumate Namaha, that is what he means. Antar Bahishcha Tatsarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. Antar Bahishcha Tat Sarvam Vyapya. This is a beautiful word. Vyapya. Vyapti means to surround, to be everywhere, to be omnipresent. Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vyomavat, as though like space.
Ether.
Vyomavat means vat in Sanskritam is as though, iva. So Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya is his body is expanded like the space. Dakshinamurte Nama, say Narayana Stitaha. The Narayana is all over, all everywhere. That Narayana is Surya Narayana in this case. 12th shloka. Hiranyagarbha Shishiraha Tapano Bhaskaro Ravihi Agnigarbhodite Putra Shanka Shishiranashanaha. Hiranyagarbha Shishiraha. So he is Hiranyagarbha, born of Aditi. Agnigarbha Adite Putraha. Of a golden womb. Hiranyagarbha. Shishiras Tapana. Shishira is cold, Tapana is hot, right? Is the destroyer of all of that. And Ravi, bearer of the fire, and conch, Shankha, Shishira Nashanaha, remover of ignorance and giver of fame. That's the outline meaning. The Namavali goes as Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha, Om Shishiraya Namaha, Om Tapana Namaha, Om Bhaskara Namaha, Om Ravaye Namaha, Om Agnigarbhaya Namaha, Om Adite Putraya Namaha, Om Shankhaya Namaha, Om Shishiranashana Namaha. Okay, so these are the namas for this verse. Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Hiranyagarbha is in the form of the golden womb. Womb is, again, the womb is also usually shown as an ellipsoidal structure, right? The womb is shown like, womb is what? Egg. Egg is an ellipsoid. Hiranyagarbha. Garbha is womb, egg. Hiranya is golden. Golden, he shines like this golden womb. And then Shishiraha. Shishiraha is okay, so there's a beautiful this thing here. Shishira is essentially cool, right? Shishira Ritu is the winter weather. So here Shishira and Tapana. So Shishira Tapana Bhaskara. Shishira Tapana Bhaskara Ravihi. So Shishira is cold, Tapana is hot. So he acts as both as the cooling agent and also the heating agent, which means he essentially, it is to show that he is the source of both. Whenever you say Kalatraya, Gunatraya, Kalatrayatitaha, Gunatrayatitaha, when you say that, it means that you're beyond, which means it is the source of that. So when you say Shishira Tapana Bhaskara, so this Bhaskara, this illumination comes from him, and he is the source of Shishira and Tapana, the source of that which is cooling and that which is the heat, which means when he withdraws his heat, in fact, we've seen these fireflies, right? Fireflies emit light, but there is no heat. It's very cooling. In the same way, the moonlight is said to be very cooling, but there is light. So the cooling effect of, so light and heat, they go together, but there are also cases where there is light, but heat can be subdued, so that the light becomes a pleasant cooling light. A pleasant cooling light. In fact, Paramahansa Yogananda had written in his work somewhere, I remember, he says even the Vishwarupa Darshanam that Arjuna had was like that of 1,000 suns. When he saw Krishna in the Vishwarupa Darshanam, it is 1,000 suns. Like it is brilliant like 1,000 suns. But that brilliance did not burn him up. That light did not cause him harm, and the brilliance did not burn him up. So there is a cooling light, which is It can be very bright, but there's no heat in it. So he's Shishiraha. And one of the commentators has said that he is also the one who removes the tapatraya, adi bhautika, adhyatmika, adi daivika. Tapatraya, three kinds of obstacles. Why do we get so worked up in life? Is because half the time we are not able to do what we want to do. Why are we not able to do what we want to do? There is some kind of obstacles or the other. And why are there obstacles? Because, of course, because of a karmic conditionings. But those obstacles present, the karmic conditions make those obstacles manifest themselves. So we can also work in a way that those obstacles are removed. In fact, whenever we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti 3 times, we are essentially saying Om Shanti, which is remove tapatraya, remove adi bhautika, Om Shanti, remove adi daivika, Om Shanti, remove adi bhautika, right? Adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika, remove adhyatmika. So these are 3 kinds of obstacles that we have in any task that you take up, be it even a mundane task that you want to do, or a spiritual sadhana that you want to take up, or you want to do Atma Vichara. These 3 obstacles are there. Adi Bhautika is of the body, of the physical. I get unwell, I get a back pain, my knee is paining, I'm having fever, I'm having cold. Adi Bhautika obstacles. Adhyatmika is my mind is disturbed. I am not able to take off. I am not able to rid of myself of this tension that I'm carrying. I'm not able to think. Even if I go and sit into dhyana, I'm not able to sit in dhyana. I'm wanting to focus on my work. I'm not able to because this is bothering me. Adhyatmika, all within me, in my mind, these obstacles that created. Adi Daivika, in the outside, everything is fine. I'm ready to now sit and do the work that I'm wanting to do. Power goes off. Rain starts falling. Right? My laptop charge goes off. Suddenly phone dies. Adi Daivika. The elemental forces of nature, which we don't have any control on. So these are obstacles that are there. Tapatraya vinirmuktaha. He gives you that Shishiraha. It gives you a cooling, a pleasant effect when these, because that is why it's called tapatraya. Tapa is it causes these 3 things cause tapa in you. Tapa is it causes some kind of disturbance, some kind of agitation within you. Tapa is also that agitation, that fire that gets generated because of agitation. So that agitation, it calms it down. Shishiraha, Om Shishiraya Namaha, that is the aspect of Surya Bhagavan. Om Tapanaya Namaha, he burns and gives light. As somebody said very beautifully, he says, if you want to give light like the sun, you have to burn like the sun. Beautiful, right? So there's a friend of mine who said this. Very profound. A friend of mine said this, and I was very touched by that statement. He said, if you want to be bright and shining like the sun in the world, then you have to know how to burn like the sun. It doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come free. It doesn't come easy. Which means you will have sufferings. You will, but look at that as burning, as tapas. That burning within, problems, obstacles, situations, whatever comes, mental, physical, emotional, at the energy level, you burn with it. Inside, we must burn. We all should burn. There is no escape from this burning. Because at the end of the day, we want to burn and dissolve, right? The whole idea is to dissolve, become porous like the sponge, or dissolve into space. If that is the whole idea of Vedanta and the moksha marga or the moksha dharma, then we have to burn. And it's not burning in self-pity. No, you burn with the wisdom and understand this burning is bringing me closer to shine like the sun. And we won't know that. People around will realize, people around will recognize in our presence. They will be able to feel that, in fact, there are people you will see, you will realize that the amount of sadhana they have done, the sadhana power will be seen in just their presence. Power of their sadhana, just by the power of their sadhana in their presence, you will experience things. And that energy it generates. The sadhana is what? Burning, tapas. So, tapanaya namaha, om tapanaya namaha, om bhaskaraya namaha. Bhaskara, we've explained it earlier also. He is the one who is self-effulgent. He gives out light from himself. It is not borrowed light, from himself. Om Ravaye Namaha. So he is the one who is as Ravi. Ravi, if you look at the name for Ravi, it is Surya Bhagavan. But what aspect of it is the one who is revealed knowledge to all the deities. To all the deities, he is the one. This is the principle that enables and empowers all the deities. Like there's a beautiful story in Keno Upanishad. We spoke about this a little while ago. I think a few weeks ago in some context we spoke. Keno Upanishad, how all the different deities come and try to disturb one twig that this yaksha is holding, and they are not able to. And the yaksha is none other than Sadashiva. And Parvati herself comes and tells all these deities that the power with which you're trying to destroy this twig, Surya, Agni Devata comes and tries to burn it. Vayu tries to blow it. Indra tries to, Varuna tries to drown it. Indra tries to shower lightning on it and things like that. Each one of them are doing different things, but nothing happens to that twig which is held by that yaksha. So Parvati comes and says, this yaksha is none other than Sadashiva, and it is through his power that you are doing all of these things that you're doing. So how can the one who is giving you the power to do what you're doing, how can he get destroyed by that power? So which is why a lot of times we say, the knowledge that you gain from the guru, a lot of people do that. குரு கிட்ட இருந்து கத்துட்டு அவர்கிட்ட போய் நீங்க தானே சொன்னல அப்படி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவரையே சேலஞ்ச் ஐயோ உங்ககிட்ட சொன்னது நம்ம அம்மா போச்சு அப்படின்னு ஆயிடும். So Ravaye Nama, he is the one who gives the knowledge of the Vedas to all the deities so that they can perform their functions. We'll close with Agni Garbhaya Namaha today. Om Ravaye Namaha, Om Agni Garbhaya Namaha. So who Agni Garbha is in the Agni, there are different forms of Agni, right? So one of the Agnis is desire, Kama Agni. It is because of Kama Agni this whole creation has happened. There's nothing in Kama Agni. It is only when it is uncontrolled and it goes rampant, there is a problem. But Kama Agni is required for us to function in this world. It is a desire, the Agni of desire is making us even to come and study some of these things. Even the desire for spiritual liberation is Agni. Okay? So the Agni of desire is Agni Garbha. Agni Garbha is, he is holding the desire, the Agni or the fire of desire in his womb, which means he is a source of all desires. Who is he? The cosmic being, Brahman, Surya Narayana, Narayana, Sadashiva. He is the cause of all desires within us. So this is to also say that don't blame yourself for your desires. Don't blame yourself. It's just that don't get driven by them entirely, unconsciously. Don't get driven by them. He is the cause of all desires. He is the Kameshwara. Kameshwara, Kameshwari. So don't blame yourself either this way or the other way. Don't say that he is only giving me all desires, so I'll do whatever I want to do. No. Either extremes are not not conducive for us. If you're on the spiritual path, you have to come to a place where you say, yes, I don't hold desires against, again, I don't have anything against them. They are there, they're natural, it's got to be there, it'll be born, it'll come up. But I'm conscious about it, I'm working with it, I'm trying to ride them rather than being ridden by them. So 58th Nama, Agni Garbhaya Namaha. So we saw Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha, Om Shishiraya Namaha, Om Tapanaya Namaha, Om Bhaskaraya Namaha, Om Ravaye Namaha, Om Agnigarbhaya Namaha. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami. Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.